Hi everyone, I'm Lee Pacchia and you're watching The Business of Law, the only web TV show focusing on the challenges and opportunities facing the legal profession. Big guest today. I'm happy to say we have Jami McKeon. She is a partner at Morgan Lewis, and as of October 1st, 2014, she is going to be the global chair of the firm. We're thrilled to have her join us. Welcome.
Thank you.
So you're taking the helm next month after 15 years of management from Francis Malone. What's going to be different and what is going to change at the firm?
Well, I hope what won't change is that the firm has really been the same place that I arrived in terms of the focus on client service, collaboration. Even though it's a much bigger place than when I joined in 1981, it's really stayed the same, and I credit Fran with a lot of that. I mean, as you know, the last 15 years has included time of turmoil for law firms, and I think Fran guided that through us very well, and we've kept our core values. But the world is changing. The law firm marketplace is changing, and we're changing with it, as is everybody else. So I think among the things that are changing are the use by law firms of technology. We've got to adapt to new workforce demands. People are more mobile. Winning the war on talent really requires that we be a lot more flexible in the way that we work as lawyers. So I think those things will change and have continued to change. I think our focus on industry sectors, there was a time where law firms really focused most on the substance of the practice of law. Now our clients expect us to know them and their industries very well, and we spend a lot of time and effort working across our core industries of life sciences, energy, financial services, technology, and retail, which are our real core areas to develop that industry depth. So I think we'll continue to see that as well.
Now, I want to pick up on the notion of big law in a state of flux. It's been that way almost since 2008. What do you view as the key challenges facing Morgan Lewis in the near term? What keeps you up at night?
Well, I think the key challenges facing us are very similar to the ones that face all global large law firms. Winning the war for talent at a time where talent is more and more scarce. Fewer people are going to law school. People aren't looking at the profession the way they used to. That's critical for law firms. Training new lawyers. A lot of what many of us grew up on was on-the-job training. Our clients these days don't really want to see their law firms spending a lot of time training first and second year lawyers.
It's a big problem.
Finding that it's a big problem, and it's a problem because we want to do that so we can have the best and the brightest lawyers, but also we can retain talent, but also so that the longevity of the firm and the profession, that you have to keep bringing people along, that's harder to do. I think clients changing views and expectations of value. It used to be that you rendered a service, you told the client what the bill was, the client paid it. Now, we have much more sophisticated clients. They really want to understand the value proposition. So in a time where everybody wants things better, faster, cheaper, they want you to do more with less, but what you're trying to do is deliver an outstanding work product and really focus on client service. That requires your lawyers to really work hard at that, and it's more challenging for law firms than it used to be when the law profession wasn't as much of a business. And then finally, innovation. People don't think of law firms as, you know, the bastions of innovation, but we have to be innovative. And I think, you know, Morgan Lewis, we were probably way ahead of the curve on things like alternative fee arrangements, which are now much more common. We've been talking about that for 15 years. But we have to stay ahead of all those curves. So lawyers have to be more innovative than they've been historically.
Looking out over the next 5 years, where do you see growth coming from for Morgan Lewis, both in a geographic sense and a practice area sense?
So I think we've always grown in accord with our clients, where they are, where they want us to be. So we spend a lot of time talking with our clients about that. Good example is our opening in Dubai a year ago. Given our focus on energy and the financial services sector, that made a lot of sense for us, and that was really in response to our clients' needs and demands. And I think we'll continue to focus on geographic growth in that way. In terms of the practice area, you know, our goal has always been representing our clients sort of from the Fortune 100 to the new emerging companies across transactional, litigation, regulatory areas. I don't see that changing, but I think the industry concentration is going to continue to be a really critical focus for us.
It's been reported that at one time you were the largest user of BlackBerry services in the country. Is that for real?
It is.
Really?
And I'll tell you.
I didn't know they kept track of these things.
I don't know if they do anymore. This was a long time ago when it was sort of new, and I think I tell people it saved my life as, you know, a working mother of 4 kids and somebody who had a Wall Street practice while I was living in California and traveling across the country. You know, that BlackBerry really allowed me to be in touch with everybody, and I guess that's what that shows in the statistics.
I'm curious what goes through one's mind when they're told that they're the largest user of a platform like BlackBerry. What did you think when they told you?
You know, when they told me that, I actually thought, well, that makes sense, because I'm not sure if anybody could use it any more than I use mine.
Did you get a prize or something? I feel like they should give you a trip to Cancun. Or
yeah, I think so too. I haven't gotten it yet.
Right on. Well, you never know. It might show up someday. You said in another interview a while back that you view, you were struck by the way BigLaw has increased its level of diversity over your career. What, in your view, has worked when it comes to fostering diversity in BigLaw?
So I think that BigLaw often is a little bit behind the rest of society. You know, BigLaw traditionally is a conservative profession. As I said before, I think that's changing a little bit. But I think that BigLaw often reflects those changes in society. So one of the reasons I think BigLaw has become more diverse is our clients have become more diverse. And our clients are expecting us to be responsive to their needs and their demands. And I think that's opened things up. I also think, frankly, technology has allowed the law to become more diverse. When you think about the issues that still to this day, but certainly, you know, over the last 30 years, we're confronting working mothers, people who historically weren't working. If you had to be at the office until 3 in the morning in order to be a big firm lawyer, you didn't last very long. When it got to the point that you could use a laptop, that you could have a BlackBerry, that you could do things online, it gave people an opportunity to be a little more flexible in their workforce.
So there's been some progress made on this front, but there's also a lot that remains to be done. We had Eric Press from ALM on a couple months ago to help us unpack some really dismal numbers when it came to African American partners at big law firms. Why is this such an issue?
You know, it's a huge issue, and if I knew the answer to why it's such an issue, I, you know, would probably be being hired by everybody to fix it. I think there are probably 2 reasons that I think about that create a problem, and they're really very different. The first is the pipeline. Fewer people are going to law school. I think law schools are under stress right now because really talented undergraduate students look and say, I can either spend 3 years and pay a lot of money to go into a profession that people keep telling me is under stress and where they've had issues with layoffs and are you hiring new people and what's the future, or I can go into some other fields that don't require that kind of investment. A lot of the big consulting firms now aren't requiring people to have an MBA. They're diversifying their workforce more. You can go work at an investment bank without spending 3 years in law school. So first of all, I think we've got a problem in our pipeline. And I don't think that law schools are as focused on the diversity issue or have been for that long. And so you're not seeing that pipeline change. Second thing, though, that I think is critically important is we're in a war for talent. There's a scarcity of resources. When that's the case, the people who are the most sought after are going to have the most options. So if you are a successful black lawyer at a big law firm, when clients are looking for a new GC, when people are looking for new judges on the bench, when people are looking for, you know, significant roles in government, or where people are looking for law firms to hire from other law firms, that population is so small to draw on that the loss of any one of those people is really a huge loss for big law. And I feel we're very lucky because we have Grace Spates, who's one of the country's leading African American lawyers. She's one of our employment lawyers. She's the managing partner of our Washington office. She works really closely with us, and so we have an unusual thing at our firm, which is we actually have a role model of a hugely successful African American lawyer. But a lot of firms have lost those role models to some of these other jobs. So it's hard to make a lot of progress when you keep being under that competitive constraint.
Really interesting stuff. Jami, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank
Best
you.
of luck in your term.
Thank you. Great to see you, Lee.
If you'd like to learn more about the stuff we're working on, be sure to go check us out at mimesiswebtv.com. You can always follow us on Twitter, and I strongly suggest you subscribe on YouTube. I'm Lee Pacchia. Thanks for watching.